Hello, Marco. How are you doing today? How is your day going?
I am not feeling well, teacher. As I told you, I have to give a speech in English. But, teacher, I did it very badly.
Badly? But why? You were very good at English. You always got the highest marks in my class. Well, this is not a big problem. People laugh at many things. You need to ignore all those who are laughing at you. But first, you tell me your problem. What happened to you when you were giving the speech in English? I am here to help you.
Okay, teacher. Well, the biggest problem I faced in my speech was that I forgot everything. I mean, I know a lot of words in English, but when I speak, I forget. And in the speech, I forgot words. Even when I communicate with friends in English, I forget English words.
Oh, it's okay, Stephen. This is not a big problem. We all make mistakes, and it is part of the learning process. I am here to help you, and I will give you 4 tips on how to overcome the problem you have faced.
Thank you so much, teacher. I really appreciate it, and I am eager to listen to you. I will follow all those tips you tell me, and I will work hard to improve my English.
Before starting the tips, I want to tell you about 2 things: passive vocabulary and active vocabulary. Have you heard about these 2 things?
Yeah. No, I don't know about these things.
It's okay, no problem. There are 2 different categories for all the words that we learn. They are either active or passive. First of all, you need to know about passive and active vocabulary. Passive vocabulary consists of those words, like the way you told me, that you have many words but when you speak, you forget. So, passive vocabulary includes all those words that you have in your brain. If you see them in text or hear them, you recognize them, and you know what they mean. However, when you want to speak or write, in general, when you want to communicate, you can't. They are in your brain, but you don't know what you have, so you can't use them when you want to speak. But what is the problem here? The problem is that those words are passive in your head. They are not active. Now, what are active words or an active vocabulary? Your active vocabulary includes all the words that you know and can use when you want to communicate. For example, if you want to speak or write something, you can use these words. They are in your brain and are active, allowing you to use them to communicate. The problem is, many language learners focus on learning more and more new words. But you know what? It's not about the number of words that you learn. It's about whether they are active or passive. You might already know a lot of words that are passive in your head. So here is the question for viewers. Which one do you think is more important for your speaking? Learning new passive vocabulary or learning how to activate and make active the passive vocabulary you already have in your head? The answer is clear. Of course, it's more important to have an active vocabulary if you want to speak, write, or communicate in general.
Thank you for explaining, teacher. I understand the concept of passive and active vocabulary now. It makes sense why I struggle when speaking, even though I know a lot of words. Please continue with your tips to help me improve.
Of course, Stephen. I'm glad the explanation was helpful. Now, let's move on to the tips that will assist you in overcoming this challenge. But how can we do that? How can we activate the passive vocabulary that we have in our head? Don't worry. I am here to help, and I'm going to show you 4 steps that you need to take in order to learn new words, and add them to the list of active vocabulary in your head. Step 1. To do this, you will need to have your own personal dictionary. So, take a notebook and next time, when you see a new word, or hear a new word, write it down. Many students stop here, and make a long list of many new words with their meanings. But this only helps when you want to learn passive vocabulary. If you want to make it active, you should not stop here.
Thank you, teacher, for explaining the concept of passive and active vocabulary. I really appreciate it. I'll make sure to start my own personal dictionary and write down new words as you suggested.
Step 2 is to write 2 or 3 sentences with that new word. This is important to learn a new word in context, because a single word in the English language can have several meanings and different uses. For example, let's imagine the new word is shift. Now, consider the following 3 sentences. Number 1, can you shift the table to the other side? In this sentence, shift means to move, as in moving the table from one side to the other. Number 2, she shifted to 4th gear and drove faster. Here, shift means to change, referring to changing gears in the context of driving. Number 3, she was on the night shift. In this example, the word shift means a period of time during the day, such as a night shift or morning shift. As you can see, in 3 different sentences, the same word has 3 different meanings. This underscores the importance of understanding the word in context, and observing how it is used in various sentences.
Thank you for explaining the importance of learning new words in context, teacher. I hadn't considered the different meanings a single word can have in various situations. The example with the word shift was really helpful in illustrating this point. I'll make sure to incorporate this into my language learning routine and write sentences with new words to understand their usage better.
Great, Stephen. I'm glad you found the example helpful. Now, let's move on to step 3. Once you have written sentences with the new word, try to use it in your daily conversations. It could be with your friends, family, or even in your own thoughts. The key is to actively incorporate the new word into your communication. This practice helps in reinforcing the word in your memory and makes it more likely for it to become part of your active vocabulary. For instance, if the new word is adventurous, you could use it in a sentence like, I'm feeling adventurous today, so let's try a new restaurant. By using the word in real-life situations, you are not only practicing its pronunciation but also solidifying its meaning and usage in your mind.
Thank you for the tip, teacher. I'll make sure to actively use the new words I learn in my conversations. It sounds like a practical way to integrate them into my active vocabulary.
You're welcome, Stephen. Now, let's move on to the final step, step 4. Regularly review and revise your personal dictionary. Set aside some time each week to go through the words you've learned and the sentences you've written. This review process helps reinforce your memory and ensures that the words stay active in your vocabulary. Additionally, you might want to categorize the words based on themes or topics. This can help you remember related words together and further enhance your language skills in specific areas.
That makes sense, teacher. I'll be sure to dedicate time for regular reviews of my personal dictionary. Categorizing the words sounds like a good idea to strengthen my understanding of different topics.
I'm glad you find these tips helpful, Stephen. Remember, language learning is a gradual process, and it's okay to make mistakes along the way. Consistent practice and application of these steps will contribute to the improvement of your speaking skills over time. If you have any questions or need further assistance, feel free to ask.
Thank you so much, teacher. I really appreciate your guidance and support. I'll start implementing these tips right away.